कर ली, दुआ छोटी सी पड़ी, दुआ के बाद सो गई। और ट्यूशन में शोहर भी बराबर में बैठे थे, टीवी देख रहे थे। तो फिर जब बेदार हुई तो यही सोचा कि बस नींद आई और फिर ख़त्म हो गया किस्सा। दूसरे दिन इनके जो बेटे हैं सैन डिएगो में कुछ दूर रहते, तो उन्होंने फ़ोन किया। तो उन्होंने कहा कि भाई आप रात को क्या कर रही थी? तो उन्होंने ये जवाब दिया कि रात को सो गए थे, बस अपने कमरे में बैठे हुए थे। तो फिर उसने कहा कि नहीं, आप हम दोनों, उनकी गर्लफ्रेंड टहल रहे थे बीच के बराबर में, तो इनको उन्होंने देखा वहाँ पर, तो हाथ भी लगाया और फिर कुछ गुफ्तगू भी की। तो बेटे की जो गर्लफ्रेंड थी उसको देखा भी, पहचान ली। तो ये तजुर्बा उनको रिलेट किया।
सही है, ठीक है,
राइट।
बड़े है इसको और तरक्की पहुँचाए ना, ये ज़ाया नहीं हो जाए ना।
And that is the truth. But what has to be done, like we said again, that it has to be nurtured, so you can be more successful and prosper and
I want
progress.
to use it for better reasons
Yes.
than that.
And
That shows me it can
yeah,
be done.
and increase that strength because you could cultivate it.
But I want to use it for higher reasons.
Sure.
That shows me, yes, it can be done. But I want to use it right.
तो कह रहे कि ये इसका मतलब है कि ऐसी चीज़ें हो सकती हैं, लेकिन मेरी ये ख्वाहिश है कि इनको अच्छाई के लिए, अल्लाह के लिए इस्तेमाल करें इस क़ुव्वत को।
नहीं, इसमें इरादा यही हो बस अल्लाह को देख लूँ या अल्लाह से बातें कर लूँ बस। फिर अल्लाह फिर जब उस तक पहुँच जाएगी ना, तो फिर जो ड्यूटी लगाएगा तो फिर उसके लिए बेहतर है ना। अगर इसकी नीयत ये हुई कि मैं ही लोगों में काम करूँ, तो फिर अल्लाह तो गया ना।
It is important that the higher purpose you talk about, your intention should be either to see God or to speak to God. That should be your intention right now. How to use yourself, your spiritual power and your inner self. Not to help people right now. But once you've spoken to God, once you've seen God, then God will actually allocate to you a duty, an obligation. Or whatever He then wishes for you, He will then say, okay, sit in this place, help my creation, help humanity, do this or do that. He will then allocate a duty to you. That will be better for you. But once you've achieved God, His essence, and you've communicated with God, then God will actually oblige you to do something for His creation or for other people to help them. And that will be better. Rather than before getting to God or before speaking to God or seeing His essence, that you allocate that obligation and duty to yourself and then say, okay, I'll be doing all this, because then you'll remember everything else but forget about God.
Never.
But it happens. They said that your intention at this stage should be to communicate with God and to be able to see His essence. Once you achieve that, then God will actually tell you what to do. He'll guide you and you'll be instructed by God.
Then my little granddaughter was luckier than I even. I was telling Rizwan a story about my 4-year-old granddaughter who came running in a couple of weeks ago. She was playing out in the backyard, came running in the house. I told you the story.
Yes. Is it about the photograph or the one in the room?
The little girl that she drew the picture.
Yes.
She drew the picture of what she saw outside. She was playing outside with her doll, and she came running in her house and said, "Mommy, I'm scared, I'm scared." And she said, "Why? What scared you?" She said, "I saw God and the mother outside over my fence looking down at me." And she said, "Will you draw a picture? I have the picture at home." So she drew a picture, and she told me about it the next day, and I said, "Did you see God?" And she says, "Yes." And I said, "Well, what did God look like?" And she says, "I didn't see His face. I didn't see His face." And I said, "Well, then how do you know it was God?" And being 4 years old, she said, "I just knowed. I just knowed." And I said, "Well, what did He look like then?" She says, "Like light and love coming down on me." And I saw the mother, and she was standing like this. Well, she's never heard us talk about the mother or anything. And I said, "Well, what did she look like?" And she drew a picture of her standing like this and with a smile, and she had yellow hair, and she had blue on and yellow and all around her yellow. And I said, "Well, then show me how God looked." And she just drew pictures of yellow light and yellow clouds, gold in colors like this up there. And I said, "Well, what did they say?" That they loved me. And then she said the mother came again in the morning and said, "God is coming."
इसका एक और वाक़या बता रहे अपने घर में, इनकी नवासी है 4 साल की, तो सहन में गई बैकयार्ड में और भागती हुई अंदर दोबारा आई, कहती मैं डर गई। उन्होंने पूछा कि क्या माजरा है, तो तफसील के साथ बता रही है। उसने एक तस्वीर बनाई कि मैं अल्लाह को मैंने देखा और रोशनी देखी और घबराई हुई थी, और फिर यानी कह रही कि माँ भी देखी एक हमारी आसमान में। तो उन्होंने पूछा क्या देखा, उसने कहा अल्लाह देखा। तो फिर उन्होंने पूछा कि अल्लाह की कैसे देखा, उसकी शक्ल कैसी? उसने ये जवाब दिया कि उसका चेहरा तो नहीं देखा, लेकिन आसमान से सुनहरी रंग की रोशनी देखी, नीले रंग की, और बहुत ज़्यादा रोशनी थी, और उसके साथ मोहब्बत ही नीचे जो उतर रही थी मेरे ऊपर। तो यही आवाज़ है कि हम तुमसे मोहब्बत करते हैं। तो वाक़या बता रहे हैं उसको।
हो सकता है वो रूह होगी जो जिससे अल्लाह मोहब्बत करता होगा।
जिसका मे बी द केस दैट यू हैव अ सोल देयर दैट गॉड लव्स वेरी मच।
लेकिन अल्लाह को बसाते खुद देखना वो ज़रा मुश्किल है ना, बच्चे नहीं देख सकते हैं।
But as far as seeing the essence of God in its true nature is a bit more difficult, especially for children.
Seemed very easy for her.
Yeah, but I mean,
the lights.
it's subjective. What maybe she's experienced, or what she related to you, or what we're talking about now, maybe different things. We're not saying she hasn't seen God, but what Shasa was saying, that it may be the case that she is a soul that is very much desired and loved by God. It may be the case. But is actually seeing God like you and I looking at each other face to face, that's a bit more difficult. That has a different nature to it, different explanation, different experience.
Since she was little, she would look up like this and smile. And when she got older, she would look up at night and just throw kisses. Keep throwing kisses.
हाँ लाइट देखी होगी ना, कोई ऐसे फरिश्ते देखे होंगे।
She has seen the light which is an angel. तो बता रही थी बचपन में वो जो दिन में ऊपर देखती और मुस्कुराती रहती, फिर थोड़ी सी ज़्यादा उम्र हुई तो रात को ऊपर देखती और फिर यूँ।
तो उन लोगों में है ना जिनसे अल्लाह मोहब्बत करता है।
Such things are found in people who are loved by God.
We were talking earlier, how old is Sufism? When did Sufism begin and how?
So मैंने पूछा सूफीज़म की क्या उम्र है, कब शुरू हुई थी सूफीज़म?
ये सूफीज़म जो है ना ये बहुत पुराना है। ये नूह अलैहिस्सलाम से शुरू हुआ था।
Sufism is very old. It started at the time of Noah.
जब नूह अलैहिस्सलाम बाकी ने नहीं माना तो कुछ लोगों ने जो माना, इनके साथ आदमी थे, वो कश्ती से बच के आए, तो फिर वो लोग जो ना मुल्कों में फैल गए, वहाँ इस तालीम को फैलाया।
Many people didn't believe in Noah, and they were then the subject of the floods and the water. And those few that survived and went away in the ark, and when everything was restored, they then scattered into many different countries, and then they propagated this knowledge.
तो सूफी उसी को कहते हैं ना जो अल्लाह के लिए घर बार छोड़ दे, उन्होंने सब कुछ छोड़ दिया था ना।
Sufism is basically, or Sufi is a person who leaves everything, leaves the home, leaves the world to find God. And such people.
जब मूसा अलैहिस्सलाम के ज़माने में जिन लोगों ने सिर्फ शरीयत पे अमल किया ना, घरों में रहे ना, तो वो तो उनके उम्मती कहलाए ना। तो जिन लोगों ने अल्लाह के लिए छोड़ा ना, वो राहब कहलाए ना।
At the time of Moses, those